welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today, the 2025 Real Estate Market Insights. We've got an excellent expert panel here today for you. Let's see here. Then I'm going to go ahead off camera and mute, and I'm going to pass it over to our panel, and they'll just give you a little introduction to themselves and their very lengthy expertise. They'll give you the short version. All right, Stephen, if you could please take it away for us here.
Sure. My name's Steve. I've been a home inspector for quite some time. Maybe some of you are currently in the industry. My market was Phoenix. Was there doing home inspections for about 10 years. Had a multi-inspector firm. So we're going to talk about opportunities, maybe changing things. I had a real estate license for a while. So I did that, for personal use, and then the home inspection industry, and then got into training. So there's a lot of opportunity in this industry. So we're going to talk about some other opportunities that maybe you're not aware of, or how there's an overlap in the industry. So we will get to that in just a little bit. And we'll toss it over to Amy.
I'm Amy Adams, and I am the national real estate expert here at the CE Shop. I live in North Georgia. I'm a broker. I practice as an associate broker, and I love what I do. I have two teenage sons. One's away at school, and one is a junior in high school. I have a chocolate Labrador named Gus, who you might hear snoring. And this is Michelle White, our mortgage expert here at the CE Shop.
Hello, I am Michelle White. I am the national mortgage expert here at the CE Shop. As it says there, over 30 years in the mortgage industry, doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I honestly got my first job in the mortgage industry as an MLO's assistant because I knew that mortgage had 2 G's, and that is a true story. Since then, I've lived in a lot of different states, and I've learned a lot about the mortgage industry from different perspectives. I am passionate about education, and I'm passionate about the mortgage industry, and that brought me here to the CE Shop. So I can teach, but I can teach something that I'm passionate about. We'll talk to Rebecca now.
Awesome. So with this webinar, understanding we've got our peers here all over the United States. So I am a boots on the ground appraiser that is teaching the USPAP class. I'm begging my experienced appraisers, please join us for the USPAP that's required every 2 years. And let's have a fantastic Socratic conversation about the changes that are taking place. So we will go over to Deanna, who's going to get us our objectives for today.
All right, here you go. Here's the lineup. So we've got a couple of key questions that today's expert panel are going to address for you. And honestly, let's just jump right in and take it away.
So I'll go ahead and start because I actually have a prop. And then Steve, I'll let you with the home inspectors, right? So the question is the predictions for the 2025 real estate market, especially looking from the preview of an appraiser. This is what we love, right? The crazy 8 ball. Because that's what we do as appraisers, is we're forecasting based upon that good data, understanding we need to have the tools in the toolbox to know what the good data is. So with that, it's all about educating to understand what the predictions are going to be all about. Go ahead, Steve.
Thanks. I think the beginning of the year is going to start out a little slow, as it usually does. If you look at the real estate industry, cyclical on an annual basis, from Thanksgiving till basically, February, March, depending on your climate, it's slow. And that's a perfect opportunity to kind of get your feet wet, get your training done, get all your your licensing requirements fulfilled to get your home inspection license or real estate license, whatever industry you want to go into. But realtors and home inspectors go hand in hand. And I think once the market picks up, interest rates are going to be coming down. I think there'll be a lot of opportunity. And as I said in the previous session, if anybody's in that one, our industry is aging. And that being the case, we got a lot of inspectors. you go to a national conference, there's an awful lot of white hair at those conferences, and there needs to be some new blood because you know, you can only crawl around a roof or an attic for so long. So we'll throw it up to Michelle.
Great. I guess as far as predictions, we're all in the same business. We're all adjacent to the same businesses, so we all probably have our own opinions, but these are just my thoughts. So, you know, rates, home values, loan products, they've all kind of been in this chaotic state. Like nobody knows what's going to happen. We've all been greatly anticipating. And then the NAR rule changes that happened. I think that kind of impacted everybody. The great COVID migration is finally over. So all those people that thought they could move during COVID and they sold houses and bought new houses, I think that migration is over. I think that means this year things are going to normalize again. I think we're going to see a return to regular interest rates, return to a regular ebb and flow of what's available on the market. And then I think the industry, though, is going to continue to create newer programs with the thought that they're going to help some movement in the market. And then I think DPA programs, down payment assistance, and community investment programs are all going to become more important because of the way that the prices have changed on homes. So I think we're in for a lot of return to normal, but we're going to have some added benefits to that normalcy this year. And let's ask Amy what she thinks.
Wow, as the real estate expert, I wish that I did have a crystal ball. I wish that I could tell you exactly what's going to happen in February, March, and April, because I would adjust my own purchases to, if I had a crystal ball, I'd buy all this stuff for myself. But 2025 is going to, I believe, be a period of pivot and adjustment in a good way, though. The natural ebb and flow, the market will always correct itself. And in real estate, you have to be flexible and adapt to what is coming. And this will be the year that we can do that. But ultimately things change, but they stay the same. With, you know, the settlement is a big squawk box topic in the media right now. But when sellers and buyers approach me, their questions are still the same as they were 5 years ago. How much is my house worth? Can you find me a house that I can afford that I like? They don't care about any of that stuff. And I believe that there are people who are tired of not being able to buy the home that they want, and people are ready to make a move. I think people get fatigue with clipping coupons, and they decide to go ahead and make the leap. And when if things are slow, prices are, you know, they might not seem low to us now, but in 5 years, these will seem low. When it's slow, we buy.
Thank you, Amy. I'm going to go ahead and just launch a quick chat poll here so we can see where everybody's coming from. You know, what roles, what current job titles people are joining us. If we have mostly agents, brokers, who's on the line. So if you see that poll, go ahead and pop in your answer, and we'll give everybody a couple seconds here to join in.
So Amy, do you want my black ball to be like crystal or see-through? Is that what you're saying?
Actually, I like that one better because it's yes or no questions,
Yeah,
no interpretation. Right? Just give me
exactly.
a yes or no.
Well, there is some without a doubt, so that's a positive one, right?
Right.
When I was underwriting, I also had a magic approval wand.
Oh, I love that.
It was very pretty. It had all crystals on it, and sometimes, you know, I had to pull out the magic approval wand and poof, make it approvable.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
All right. Looks like we've got a great variety here joining us today. We'll go ahead and keep the conversation going with the expert panel. So Becky, if you can kick us off.
So the question is, what is the key skill? We need to know how to read that crystal ball, the crazy 8 ball as appraisers. So part of that skill really is honing in on understanding the market. We have it, appraisers, but we need to understand that the market is constantly changing. For example, sustainability or green. What is that market reaction? Understanding how the market is reacting to certain property characteristics. It's all about learning. And that's part of why the CE shop is here, is to help hone those skills for you. So I'm going to pass it on to Steve and see what skills our home inspectors need to look forward to in 2025.
Thank you, Becky. In my opinion, the biggest skill that you need as a home inspector is people skills. So way back when, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Dale Carnegie. I'm a huge proponent of Dale Carnegie and all his training courses and books and so forth. And you just got to understand people. So how to win friends and influence people is probably the best book ever written. So I would invest in that book. It's a very small paperback. You can pick it up for cheap. If you've never heard of it, it's a great book. It will give you a lot of information. But if you're already in the industry, I would delve into other things. Yeah, you have all kinds of stuff you can do. You can do termite inspections, you can do mold inspections, you can do radon inspections, you can do energy audits or energy efficiency evaluations. There's a whole lot of stuff that you can add to your business over and above just being a home inspector. Now, some of those things are a normal part of a real estate transaction. Some of them come after the real estate transaction. And of course, it depends on where you live in the country. My market was Phoenix. So everybody had to do a pool and spa inspection, termite inspection, radon inspection. Those would be normal things, but you may have the opportunity in your market to do those things and you have just not, jumped in. So I'd highly recommend you get some additional training where you might be able to add to the dollar value of your per inspection fee and grow your business. And how about Michelle?
How about Michelle? I think the key skills that mortgage loan originators are going to need this year is flexibility. Keep up on the AI, the tech savvy skills, lots of online communication by text and by email, but also be able to communicate with those older generations. Being Gen X, I still like to be able to walk in someplace and look somebody in the eye when they're telling me something. So be flexible and meet your borrowers, your potential borrowers where they're at. Another skill is going to be networking. Those soft skills, those people skills. If you can't help someone, you might know someone who can help someone. So don't be afraid to make referrals and go looking for referrals. So those soft people skills are going to be really important. And then staying up on your education. CE is so important. And keeping up to date on your license. Don't let your license expire. And then, just stay educated about local community programs, community action programs, be able to direct your borrowers to the free stuff because everybody loves free money. So know what's available for your borrowers in your market. What do you think, Amy?
I think two key skills for 2025 are going to be communication, which is that's going to encompass networking, getting yourself out there, getting new business, touching your old business. But the big one really would be the data interpretation skills. And I don't just mean all of our MLS systems in real estate usually have programs and software on there that you can interpret data and stay current in the market data in your area. Keep your finger on the pulse about what sold yesterday. I know agents who the first thing they do every morning is open up Facebook and see what their friends are up to. I also know really career-oriented people who the first thing they do is pull up their MLS and see what got listed last night. Keep your finger on the pulse. But when I say data interpretation, I don't just mean the numbers of what sold and what got listed and who's doing what in my area, but interpreting the people around you when you are networking and getting referrals. You know, when you are in the grocery store, I talk too much, you know, I'm a chatter. Anybody who knows me knows I talk a bit, but, you know, interpreting the data of the people in the room with you. What are you looking for? And how long have you been in your home? That kind of thing. Keep your finger on the pulse. Two key skills, communication and data interpretation. Next, Becky, what do you think?
So I love that. I know we have a new question for that, but I'm going to piggyback with that too, Amy, right? Because especially if we're talking to our experienced and our skilled real estate agents, why not take an appraisal course? Because that's what it's all about, is what Amy is talking about, is understanding the interpretation of the data. For us appraisers, it's market exposure, which is clearly defined in our profession. You need to come into the appraisal world and have that understanding. That's what's going to have you stand out. For my appraisers, you know it, that are here. And it's going to be in that ebook that you're going to be getting on page 17. You guys have to learn the UAD. So everything is changing when it comes to the way appraisal reports are going to be communicated when it comes to the mortgage lending world. My appraisers, you have to start learning how to do the mobile picture taking, the mobile, whether you have, whoever your software company is. Number one, that training is available. When you get your ebook at the end of this webinar in an email, go to page 17. The CE shop gets this. They have a link that'll take you right to the Fannie Mae site to have your UAD training started. So with that, what's going on with your home inspectors? What do they need to start doing for 2025?
Thanks, Becky. What they have to do is basically do what the customer expects. I stress that over and over again in class. You know, you have what the state requires or what the standards of practice require, but then there's reality. What does the customer expect? And I know tons of guys that they basically only do what's required, and then they're not very successful. And they wonder why they're not killing it in their market. And I ask them questions. You know, do you do this? No. Do you do that? No. Well, why don't you do that? Well, it's not required. Well, the customer expects it, right? You got to do what the customer expects. So the way I always tell guys when I'm training them is do the inspection that you would expect to get performed for you if you were buying a house.
Right.
And if the answer is, you know, I don't do that stuff, yet you would expect it, then you should be doing it as part of your inspection. I mean, it's really that simple because I see time and time again where inspectors, you know, we call them the $199 guys in our market. So the average inspection is about $400-ish, depending on your market, and they're doing them for half price. And you're like, well, how can you do an inspection for half price? Well, they do it for half price because they're doing half an inspection and you get what you pay for. So if you want to be the $199 guy, more power to you. I would rather be the $400 guy and get paid a lot more money per transaction. So do what the customer expects. And how about Michelle? What do you think?
So if we're talking about how agents, home inspectors, appraisers, MLOs, we can differentiate ourselves in the market. I would say for MLOs, be unique. Find your niche, find your passion. Maybe you're passionate about helping first-time homebuyers or helping veterans, or maybe you know a lot about condos in your market. Find your passion. Look for those customized loan products that are out there for certain demographics or for certain property types. Maybe you're in a highly manufactured home market. And create an experience for your borrowers. Don't just take the application, pass it off, you know, be available, answer their questions, and then be a resource after closing. Your job, your referral, your handoff, your circle of influence doesn't stop when the loan closes. When their roof falls in, they might call a roofer or they might call you. They might need a home equity loan. If you stay connected to them, they're gonna keep coming back to you. And then stay educated. Stay educated and keep networking. and not just educated about loan programs, but educated about the market, educated about, like Amy said, keep your pulse, keep your fingers on the pulse. Maybe there's a new company that's coming into your area. Maybe a company just experienced a big layoff. They're putting up a new school, which is going to attract, more borrowers to your school district. Know your community and customize the experience for your borrowers. Becky?
So I believe we're going over to the next, right? So typing in, this is your interaction for our people that are here. What is oh, go ahead, Deanna.
I just launched it as a poll. So we have a slide here. Finish the sentence. And everyone can chime in their answers on the poll. Just type in your fill in the blank. Let's do a round robin. Becky, what's your fill in the blank on this question?
I can pull out my crazy 8-ball, right? Or we talk about in 2025, what is it a year of? My year has always been hope, right? Looking for hope, not only in the profession itself, but just personally. So my word is hope.
Stephen, what are your thoughts?
It's going to be the year of money. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity this year with the big change in the government, obviously. Interest rates are going to come down. People are finally getting over the shock of the whole NAR settlement. Everybody's getting back on solid footing as far as the industry. Yeah, prices are coming down, but I think the actual sales are going to pick up. And me as a home inspector, realtors hate when I say this, but me as a home inspector, I don't care how much the house sells for. I don't care if you give the house away as long as you get it inspected, right? So I'm just looking for deals that close. Unfortunately, for the agents and the seller, if that's not for a lot of money, that's a whole separate issue. But the more transactions, the more closings there are, the better off we are as a home inspection industry. So that's what I'm hoping for is the market's going to pick up with all the changes, and we'll just see what happens. Michelle?
Yeah, I think 2025 will be a year of taking the leap. I think we're going to see consumers who have been on the fence about whether buying, refinancing, is it time to downsize? We've been through so much over the last, 5 or 6 years with the market, with COVID, with everything. I think everything's normalizing. And I think this year we're going to see a lot of people taking the leap. And regardless of what the prediction is, I'm going to share something that I've shared before, and Becky likes it, so I'm going to say it. And that is, don't think of the glass half full or half empty. Just remember, you can always refill the glass. What about you, Amy?
In real estate, 2025 will be the year of, let's see, we talked about having a crystal ball or a magic 8-ball. But for me personally, 2025 is going to be a year of opportunity and growth. It's there. The people in the United States live in houses, someone owns them. And I'm going to find a way to capitalize on that no matter what. But I'm also going to grow. I wish I had more time. I want to take all of the classes available. I don't want to climb under a crawl space with Steve, but I do want to know more about how the workings of a house, and that helps me grow my business because people refer real estate licensees that they enjoyed working with or that they felt like they got value from. The more I know, when I help someone buy their home and they have a great experience. Amy Adams was so knowledgeable. She knew a lot about the entire process. She knew about how my house worked. She knew what was important, what wasn't. Or, I also want to take all the appraisal classes and the MLO classes to become more of an expert on pricing a property or different loan products that might be available with a property. So I would like to grow in 2025 for myself.
I love it. Just kind of looking at the chat box if I can, Deanna, is that okay?
Absolutely. We are ready to shift into some Q&A and other great topics.
Great. So put those in the chat box, guys, because that's kind of what I'm trying to pick up here. There was a comment, think out of the box,
That's a
and
good
then
one.
real estate to get better. So if you're already in the real estate profession, when I'm looking at it out of the view as an appraiser, we are constantly steady. So if you're saying real estate to get better, is that because your profession has kind of gone low? Think about diversifying. You can do both. You can sell real estate and you can appraise real estate 100%. So think out of the box. So thank you for those comments.
Double threat or a triple threat.
Right. Yeah, we've actually had home inspector, appraisers, and brokers all licensed in the same category. Now, I've got to be careful about your state, but it's thinking out of the box.
I would say about 50% of the appraisers that I know, the real estate appraisers that I know in my area, started off as real estate licensees first.
Yep.
Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Yeah, and you know, just to add on to that, if you feel like the real estate business is a little slow, in many states, you have to check your state licensing, but you can hold dual licensing in real estate and mortgage at the same time. So when you're not selling the home, you can be helping somebody fund the home. And we have done some past webinars about how you know, how that happens and what that might look like. So don't limit yourself to just one profession. There's so many adjacent professions that you can get into. As long as your state allows dual licensing or allows multiple licenses at the same time, I say go for it. Because the more you learn about one industry, the better you're going to become in the other industry, because you'll have a better understanding of the process beginning to end.
I love that. There's a comment in there by Stuart. Agents need to know what they're doing, right? 100%. That's why the CE shop is here. And that's why we're here on this webinar too, is to have people understand we never stop learning.
Never.
We all have been doing this 30, 40 years. We never stop learning. So that's part of what the CE shop is trying to do.
Oh, we've got a great question that came in here for the group, and maybe each one of you can answer. Where can we find if our state allows multiple licenses?
Fantastic. I'm going to start with that just because the appraiser profession, the Appraisal Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization, creates the criteria, and then each state has to adopt it. So what's really cool about the appraisal profession, in each state, minimum standards, minimum criteria are all the same. So there's a lot of reciprocity. When it comes to whether or not you can do multiple for the appraisal profession, it's all about the ethics rule. So it's within USPAP. Steve, what about you?
Yeah, there's quite a variability for home inspections. There's only 36 states that have licensing of any type. So, you know, you got 14 obviously that don't. So in those 14, it's kind of catch as catch can. But in the other 36, there's a lot of variability. In some states, it's just a disclosure requirement. In some states, it's prohibited. So if I was checking it out and I wanted to see if I could get a real estate license, which I had a real estate license and a home inspection license in Arizona, you would start with either entity. So you go to the Department of Real Estate or whatever it's called in your state, or whatever entity oversees home inspector licensing, and look at both licenses and see if either one has an exclusion for the other. Because in Arizona, for example, there's no exclusion for realtors to be home inspectors, but for a home inspector to be a realtor as well, it has to be disclosed, and there's certain things you have to do. So you really have to check both or all three sides, depending on what industry you're talking about, to see if you're going to be in violation of state law, whether it's strictly prohibited or just a disclosure requirement.
Yeah, absolutely. Go straight to the source. Go straight to whoever handles licensing in your state for MLO or for real estate and ask them. And in fact, I say email directly or pick up the phone and call and ask the question. If you can hold both licenses, why wouldn't you? So maybe it is the year of dual licensing. Maybe that's what 2025 is.
maybe. And I've got to do the clarification, because if I have people on here that know me on this webinar and I don't say it, I'm in trouble. Stephen, it's all about licensing real estate. Realtor is a member of the club. So for example, I don't hold a license to sell, but I'm a realtor. So realtor is just that membership in the Association of Realtors. It's not a license. And I say that with great kindness. But I know I've got people on this webinar. If I didn't say that, I'd be in trouble.
Thank you for that clarification, Becky. We appreciate it. All right, we are just kind of wrapping things up here today. This has been a great session, great panel. Don't forget, we do offer those continuing education courses and professional development to really help you get an edge in the market. Any closing thoughts?
My closing thoughts are to just take a leap and try to learn something new. We have all the tools to make you successful, but there are no shortcuts. It comes from you.
All right. Michelle?
Yeah, I agree with Amy. Like, take the leap, go for it. Be bold. Just be bold this year.
Awesome. Stephen, we had a few people asking about what book you were referring to. If you could say that out loud one more time.
It's Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I put it in the Q&A section. And then the CE shop, the name says it all. I mean, that's what we do. We provide CE courses for continuing education for whatever license you may have.
All right. And Becky, any closing thoughts?
No, I am just grateful that I didn't get in trouble with Stephen. Like I said, I know I'd get in trouble with other people on this. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I'm just very grateful for the CE shop, because they just brought the appraisal profession on just in the last year, and it gives us appraisers more options. So just thank you to the CE shop for that.
All right. Well, that's a wrap for today. Thank you everyone so much for joining us. We do appreciate it. And we sure hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.